Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Thursday, July 18th, 2024. The news media waiting for Trump to speak at the GOP convention. It is day 4, the last day of the convention. And headlines that broke back to back. First was the death of longtime comedian Bob Newhart, who became famous in 1960, the year JFK became the nominee in one election for the Democratic Party, becoming the nation's 35th president. But Bob Newhart, dead today. And then right after that, Lou Dobbs, the lone conservative on CNN when the network was founded in 1980. You know, that was the year of Ronald Reagan, who ran on Mega, who got shot in 81 and then won re-election in 84, 40 years ago, number 40 did, after this shooting in Butler on the 40th parallel. 13 weeks from the anniversary of the Secret Service being established, and then Donald Trump gets the perfect photo op under the 13 stripes on the 13th of the month. But anyway, right before Trump's about to speak, as the media is anticipating this, again, you have both of these deaths announced. And I just want you to see something. You know, the Gematria, remember the band Slipknot has the song out there, Gematria, the killing name. And notice how in Gematria, Lou Dobbs equates to 45. Donald Trump, number 45. Remember, he has a mega 45 pattern. Berlin Wall equals 45. He was called president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall when Reagan said to tear down the Berlin Wall and Trump ran on building a wall, the parallels. And there's been so many 45 things, but most recently, Stormy Daniels taking the stand 45 days after her 45th birthday and the trial coming to an end 45 days after it began. When the judge's name Juan Merchant equals 45, and the next thing you know, it's over, and it's 45 days from the anniversary of the death of Trump's ex-wife, who died 45 years after their marriage, exactly 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year on the day Trump said he would run in the 60th U.S. presidential election. Again, Newhart became famous in 1960. Again, the elections of 1860 and 1960, quite fateful with Lincoln and Kennedy, who have all kinds of parallels. But yes, in Gematria, Lou Dobbs 45, Bob Newhart 45. If you're new here, it's the simple practice of coding numbers into words. It's based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. Simple addition, alphabetic order plus numerology applied. And you just got to say, I mean, it's day 4, right? It's day 4 of the convention. 4 is the number associated with death in the occult. Lou Dobbs started with CNN, headquartered in Georgia, the 4th state in order of statehood. Again, we're in the time of Cancer, the 4th astrological sign. And funny enough, in Gematria, out of the 50 states using the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order of numerology, only 2 of the states equal 44. Georgia and Wisconsin, which both have the connection with Hank Aaron, number 44, who sadly died on 44 date numerology, like Trump just experienced the near-death experience, so we're told on the 44 date numerology. Its fateful number is 4 and 44. Words like shooting, execution, and kill have the Gematria 44. But yeah, both of these deaths, just right before Trump's about to speak, conventions in Wisconsin. You know, with regards to Lou Dobbs being dead at 78, remember, Teddy Roosevelt was shot in Milwaukee, where the convention is, October 14th, the day leaving 78 days left in the year. The shooting of Trump came shortly after his 78th birthday, which we've been in anticipation of for years because he's Mr. House of Cards, he's Mr. Trump cards. There's 78 cards in the tarot deck. The top cards are Trump cards in a tarot deck. This shooting came 78 days after Melania's birthday, when in Gematria, Stormy Daniels has the 78. You know, just little jokes upon jokes. And that's the thing too, right? I was just talking about this on the kill date when Trump had the assassination scare, how often they bring comedians in as part of the joke that nobody's getting. Like, people are missing the joke of Donald Trump pumping his fist in a perfect photo op. This guy from Hollywood and the WWE, where they know the razor blade trick to get a little nick on the skin to get a lot of blood. But again, Donald Trump, this actor with the perfect photo op. Again, what are the odds, you guys? Exactly 13 weeks into the anniversary of the Secret Service's age. Again, it was established in history April 14th, the day Lincoln was shot. If you didn't know that, look it up. April 14th, 1865. That was the day. The assassination of Lincoln is associated with the beginning of the Secret Service. The Secret Service. D.C., the Masonic city, where the Jesuits have been for longer than either of them when they're both these infamous secret societies. But yeah, people aren't getting the jokes that are being laid down. And again, now a comedian's dead in this same week who just happens to have the right numbers in his name, Gematria, like where the band Slipknot doing the song Gematria, the killing name, or where the Police, who did the song Murder by Numbers, where killing's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3, and it's the sport of the elected. Again, Sting, the singer for that band, everyone knows their song Roxanne. Every breath you take, every step you take, I'll be watching you. You know, the police state. Stuart Copeland, also in the police, his daddy in the CIA. But yeah, these are the breaking headlines right before Trump speaks. And again, I mean, just all the same stuff we keep talking about. 78, so important. In Gematria, order out of chaos is 78, as is the word Scottish Rite, as is Jesuit, as is Kennedy. Again, DC's the Masonic Jesuit city. The Kennedys, dead in these Jesuit Masonic rituals. We've been talking about this for all these years since RFK Jr. got in the race officially on 4/5. We've been talking about how they foreshadowed an assassination coming in this campaign. They've been paying all this tribute to 1968, the year MLK died on 4/4. MLK from the fourth state, Georgia. Remember, Trump had the mugshot down in Georgia where CNN is, where MLK's from on 24/8. And now the country's 248 years old, and so is the Illuminati. Remember, President Donald Trump's 248. When he was called president-elect in 2016, again, he was on 248 electoral votes at the time. On the 248th birthday of the Illuminati, they gave him a break in Manhattan Criminal Court, which equals 248. Again, Illuminati founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. There's meaning behind these numbers that are used repetitiously. Order out of chaos is 78. So is Wuhan coronavirus. Happened when Trump was in office. Happened 78 days after Anthony Fauci's birthday, the head of the NIH, who was Jesuit educated at Holy Cross, who said 10 days before Trump took office at a Georgetown pandemic preparedness conference that there would be a major epidemic in the time of Trump. He was 100% confident about it. Happened 78 days after his birthday. Again, if you've not read my last book, Number Games, you know, all of these numbers are explained in much greater detail. The numbers are a language that are used ritualistically. The word ritual itself has gematria of 45. And we always talk about 35 Thursday. Today just happens to be the 35th day of Trump's age. Thursday has that gematria 35 like Newhart, the comedian. Remember, JFK number 35, killed on I-35 in Dallas. And remember, from JFK's May 29th birthday to the assassination scare for Trump was 45 days later. Again, then the convention in Milwaukee where Teddy Roosevelt was shot on the day leaving 78 days left in the air. He was the youngest VP nominee until J.D. Vance, nominated in Milwaukee where Roosevelt was shot. Again, Kennedy, 78. We all know about the Kennedys and assassinations, including RFK Jr.'s father. Again, RFK Jr. filed his paperwork on 4/5, April 5th, to officially get in the race. In light of the whole Donald Trump Church of Satan piece, again, on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan, it was the White House Correspondents' Dinner, April 30th, 2011. Again, Obama joked that Trump would be number 45 days before Trump's birthday. A lot of Church of Satan rituals with Trump. Meg is the highest degree of the Church of Satan, but Satan also has that gematria 35. So does Baphomet, which is the symbol for the Church of Satan. So think about that with the 35 and what's happened here. So you got to sell your soul to make it in show business. So at the end of the day, they're probably all in the club. But Lou Dobbs, who's, used to have a nightly show on CNN until more recent times. I want to say it was around the time of COVID. I'd have to go back and look. But he did a big thing for C-SPAN this year, really, advocating for Trump. And notice from the day that he did that special until his death, 107 days, right? See how George Robert Newhart's 107, John Fitzgerald Kennedy's 107. If Kennedy were alive, he'd be 107 years old. The shooting just happened in the town of Butler, which is in its 107th year of existence. We talked about this before Game 1 of the finals, how it was the 78th NBA season, and Game 1 was on the Celtics' 78th birthday, the anniversary of RFK dying, and yada, yada, yada. But we talked about how the Celtics came into that series. It was Celtics, Boston versus Dallas Mavericks. Again, those are JFK cities. He's mayor in Boston, dead in Dallas. But again, 78th season, mega 78 ritual. Celtics were plus 107 scoring before game one was played. Then the Celtics win game one with 107 points. And then they win and close out in the 617 area code on 6/17, June 17th, on the 107th day of Jason Tatum's age, who picked up his 45th playoff loss of his career, the only game he lost in the finals, on Trump's 78th birthday. Not to mention how the whole thing was synced up with 78-year-old Miriam Adelson, whose husband died recently and who bankrolled Trump in 2016. Trump always says he was self-funded back then, but it was the Adelsons, the casino family, banking him. Again, Adelson took over the team right after her 78th birthday in the 78th season. Anyway, we've been talking about this 107 all over, and now it's showing up in Butler, and now it's showing up today with this Lou Dobbs ritual, doing that show for what C-SPAN stand for? It's like the cable corporation, whatever, blah, 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 but always big with politics. Go figure, it's 107 days since he did that. And again, 44 years ago, he joined CNN. Shooting has the gematria of 107, the big way, 44, the small way. One's with the alphabetic order. The small way is with the alphabetic order with numerology applied. So the big way, S is the 19th letter. When you apply numerology instead of S being 19 like it is in the green cipher, it's worth 1 in the blue cipher because the numerology of 19 is 1 plus 9 is 10, and 10 is 1 plus 0 is 1. Also, today, it's 18/7, the way the majority of the world writes the date, 187 days from Inauguration Day, January 20th. We were talking about this big time. We've always been talking about this pattern with this day in the upcoming inauguration. But in light of them paying tribute to the JFK assassination, remember that happened in the 187th year of the nation's existence. From Trump's birthday to the first Jesuit Pope's birthday, also a span of 187 days. Washington, D.C. equals 187. Keep in mind this number is associated with homicide. Remember, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre helped us out with that. And then Dr. Dre lost his son 187 days after his birthday and so on and so forth. A lot of federal deaths with 187. But Washington, D.C., George Washington, Society of Jesus, Holy Roman Empire, Brotherhood of Death, Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, they all have the 187 connection. Jesuit and Scottish Rite have the 78 connection, like Kennedy. JFK was shot in Dealey Plaza in a major Jesuit ritual, but shot in a place named after a Scottish Rite Freemason. The top degrees of the Scottish Rite were written by Jesuit priests. Again, the Jesuits share the motto with the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite, Ad Merum Dei Gloriam. Again, Kennedy 78, Jesuit 78, Scottish Rite 78, Trump 78 years old of Scottish ancestry. Same things they've been pointing out the whole time. When RFK Jr. got in the race, we were pointing this out, how it foreshadowed this, and we reminded, a little more than a year from now, Trump's going to be 78. 78 cards in the tarot deck, operating by the numbers. Trump first ran back in the time of the hit show House of Cards. All the parallels with Kevin Spacey and Trump from the shows to what they were going through with the news, with the sex assaults. Okay, also just a reminder, again, shooting in Georgia have that gematria 44 and 37. Again, this shooting of Trump happened on 44-date numerology. There was a big 157 component with it as well, which is the 37th prime. Again, this just reminds me of Georgia, where Trump will eventually be, unless it gets wiped out from the immunity thing, but there's a chance that he's returning to Georgia, again, where MLK is from, who got shot in that infamous year 68, like RFK, the year of years, but on 4/4. And then we got our first major gun control legislation at the end of 68. And speaking of 68, look at this. Lou Dobbs is dead 68 days before his birthday. Donald John Trump, 68. CIA, 68. 1968, coronavirus, COVID vaccine. Or, excuse me, not COVID vaccine, but just coronavirus was coined in 1968. Fentanyl was approved by the FDA. Remember what they did this year on the 68th day of the year in my home state, Oregon? They overturned the legalization of fentanyl because it was killing too many people, and the governor's name equals 68. And that was on March 8th when Oregon equals 38, like fentanyl, like death, like murder, like killing, like RIP, like Pentagon, like the nation's capital on the 38th parallel. Again, like 1968, again, a year of death. Vietnam, World Trade Center construction begins. 911 made the national emergency dialing code. Political assassinations. Remember what they did at Columbia this year, 56 years to the day of the raid on the same building. Again, we've been talking about how all these things come together, how all the predictive programming for what was to be expected this year, and here we are. And again, There were multiple assassinations in 68. Keep that in mind. So we're young in the election season. We're getting it started right here with shots fired. And then right before Trump's about to speak, looks like he's still not up there. You know what's sad? Right when I turned this on to see if he was speaking, when I looked at this little side chat, what was going at the time was like everybody was like channeling the idea that somewhere Donald Trump right now is nailing Joe Biden and Joe Biden's watching. They were all getting excited about that and LOLing and posting their own little variation of the joke. And I was just joking a few days ago about how if they ever released the Stormy Daniels Donald Trump sex tape, I think a lot of these mega people, they would be more about it than you would ever believe. But it just shows you like the level of where our nation is. It's just, yeah, he's nailing Jill Biden somewhere right now. It's like, again, you guys, this society's gone. If you, like, they're all excited about that idea. That's really the kind of man you want for your leader. I mean, it's just like, it's a society of villains cheering for villains. A man who, and he already told you he's that kind of man to Billy Bush back in 2016 with the leaked tape, you know, with the relative of the last Republican president before Trump. Remember, we got the Bushes, and in between them was a Democrat, Clinton, who went to Yale like the Bushes, and then we got Obama in there, and then again, Obama's telling you that Trump's going to be 45 on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan, and then it's 1,045 rituals ever since. And I don't know, when are people going to catch on? But Bob Newhart was old, and so was Lou Dobbs. Yeah, and they were both also announced dead with this 45 connection and these connections in years. One to Reagan in 1980, the other to 60 in Kennedy. All the stuff we're talking about day after day. I mean, I did just make the point about how they always work comedians into this. And look at this with Bob Newhart. You know, he's dead 64 years after making it in 1960. And like we were talking about the other day, or where did I put it at? Right here. Comedian has that gematria of 64 and 44 like kill. Like the Trump shooting was on the kill date. A date having 64 and 44 numerology was July 13th, 2024. 7 plus 13 plus 24 is 44. 7 plus 13 plus 20 plus 24 is 64. But there's been so many jokes with these numbers over the years and deadly stories on these dates. A lot of celebrities were dead, announced dead on July 13th, as we covered. Month after month on the kill date, it works out this way. But notice how Joe Biden and comedian overlap in all four. I'd never observed that until just now. And again, just Joe Biden with the COVID illness at this time, with all this pressure on him, at the exact time we speculated 4 years ago that he'd be pushed out of office and Kamala would replace him while he's 81 and she's 59 in light of the 81 million votes in the 59th presidential election, plus the meaning behind those numbers. But don't forget the first President's Day when Joe came in, number 46, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. Again, the nation's second Catholic president. The first JFK killed at 46 when Catholics 46. But again, the first President's Day on the 46th day of the year, 15/2. How perfect the script was. But yeah, comedian 64, 1960, 64 years ago, the day Trump was supposedly shot, nicked in the ear. That was the 64th anniversary of JFK becoming the Democratic nominee in that year. It was July 13th, 1960. Again, just jokes that people aren't getting, you know. They're talking about a legendary comedy. There's legendary comedy going on all the time in this nation, and nobody's getting the joke because the adults in the room who are writing these scripts and telling these jokes, they know they have this populace of little infant children in terms of where they are, in terms of understanding the occult operations of the cabal. They know that they're not going to understand their jokes or ever see it. So they get away with doing this day after day. We were just showing the ritual they paid tribute to with Van Gogh and his painting. You know, Van Gogh has a self-portrait of his ear bandaged after he mutilated himself. And now here's Trump with a perfect tribute. Again, we just covered that the other day. I know a lot of you guys have trouble keeping up. People are like leaving comments. Zach, do you know about the BlackRock thing? I'm like, yeah, I covered that like 3-4 days ago. We've probably covered everything over here. Get caught up because everything we've been putting out is stuff everybody should know. Again, until the world learns what we're putting out, again, they're going to continue to fail to see the mockery that's being made of them. And again, just Bob Newhart, entertainer like Trump. He was in the making of the Joseph Heller book Catch 22 into a movie. I've never seen the film version. I like the book Catch 22 though. So, all right, back to back announced deaths just right before it gets underway. Uh-oh, they're doing something here. Are they about to bring Trump on? We'll come back real quick. Secret Service today. They've changed the story again. They've gone through a few variations of what happened, and now they're saying the shooter hid the rifle on the roof, got on the roof, snuck up to it, pulled out the rifle, got off some shots before he got shot. I mean, that's hard for me to imagine. Again, I was at Arizona State in 2004 when they had the debates there as a student. And the whole week, there were the entire campus, which is a square mile. It must have had at least 1,000 Secret Service the entire week, way before the president even showed up. Every building covered on top, every building, just suits everywhere on the ground. It was like it felt like there was many Secret Service on campus as students, if not more Secret Service than students. And there's a lot of students at Arizona State. I said 1,000. It was really, you guys, there's probably more than 1,000 people there. It was ridiculous. I mean, just the whole campus. Never seen anything like it. We had the media there all week. Lou Dobbs was doing his show on Arizona State campus, if I'm not mistaken. Everyone was there. All these people, Fox News, CNN. They were Anderson Cooper walking around the campus. They were all there that week, but just crazy Secret Service. So I'm just imagining the way the Secret Service really is. You have some guy sneaking around on a roof clear by. They probably got 3 snipers with you with their scopes on you. I could only imagine you start to pull out a gun hidden on the roof long before you could even get the thing aimed. You'd be smoked. So, I mean, all of this is just such obvious bullshit. Alex Jones coming out and other people saying that this is the deep state. I mean, so what? The deep state, we shouldn't really fear then if this is the best they can do. Revenge of the nerds out there. First mission. Maybe he almost got him. It was so close it nicked his ear. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know who's taking anything the media says seriously. It's all a joke every day. They make a mockery of us every single day. This line that Fox gives, just fill in the gap. There's a lot here that's interesting about fill in the gap. Again, the next tarot cards is 119. The next election, the winner takes office with the 119th card. Again, Trump cards are the top cards in the tarot deck. 78 in the deck. Fill in the gap, 65. That's the year the Secret Service was created, 1865. 205 is a big Templar. United Kingdom number. The 61 is a big assassin number, which we've covered several times in regards to this shooter. But they're always putting little coded information in there, emphasized headlines, fill in the gap. It relates to the Secret Service since 1865, the end of the Civil War. I'm not even going to get into what I noticed with the Sandy Hook promise. Never mind. I don't want to start another YouTube channel. Yeah, today on 18/7, again, we've pointed out it's very important that Obama, who was born the year JFK took office, it's very important that he's about to turn 63. 63, the year it went down for JFK. Obama, number 44. Joe Biden, the VP to number 44. Joe Biden's name in Gematria is 44. Joe Biden's also 64, like how they showed him up in Hawaii last year for the state's 64th birthday to talk about. Well, it was one of those jokes. Supposedly a hurricane spread crazy wind that wiped out the old capital, Lahaina. But no, I mean, just another example of weather warfare. If you missed all of our work from that last year, all by the numbers, executed with precision. And then Joe Biden, 64. Barack Hussein Obama, 64. They were the ticket 44 years after the Civil Rights Act in 1964. Obama from Hawaii. Biden's there on the 64th birthday of the state to say, oh, sorry, old Capitol. Sorry we wiped you out. You guys, this is where the people protested against us when remember, don't forget that either, you guys. It was the Committee of 13 that overthrew Hawaii's monarchy, pretty much overthrew a sovereign nation and then made them a state. And now ritualistically, all these years later, burned down their capital. Say, oh, that's how you got to do something about climate change. And it just, again, the joke's just over everybody's head. Weather warfare, first admitted to in 1952 on the Jesuit order's birthday. Most people still don't have a clue. Looks like we don't have Trump out there yet. We got BJ James McLaughlin of Iowa, where Trump won the caucus on 1/15, like January 15th, like the elections on November 5th, 1/15, like how we took office in 2017 with the 115th Congress. And then they synced up the 115th World Series with Trump and the Nationals winning it when Trump hired the Nationals announcer Steve Ray to do Inauguration Day. And again, this shooting 115 days before the election on 11/5. And all the other 115s we covered on it, including it being 115 days after Barron Trump's birthday. And his mom talking about how the life of her and Barron flashed before her eyes as well. Yeah, tomorrow, you guys, it's going to be the 201st day of the year. I just wonder what's going down. July 19th, the 201st day of the year in a non-leap year. Again, Joe Biden lost his wife and daughter in a big 201 ritual back in 72. Then when he was 72 years old, he lost his son 201 days before the Pope's birthday. We know Trump lost his ex-wife a couple years ago, July 14th, by the numbers. Jesuit ritual buried on the 201st day of the year. Inauguration Day is the 201st day of the nation's age on a date that can be written 20/1, but it wasn't always that. Again, 201 is a big number with the Jesuits. All throughout their history, we're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. 201 is just omnipresent number with the Jesuit history. And don't forget, going back to 1968, the MLK assassination, from his assassination to the nation's first major gun control legislation 201 days later. And again, they killed Martin Luther King Jr. on the 95th day of the year. He wasn't born with that name. He took the name Martin Luther in tribute to the Protestant Reformation leader who wrote the 95 Theses and pinned it on the day we now call Halloween, 201 months before the Jesuits were created in Paris, France. But, yeah, Obama's the headline on 18/7. Obama, Nancy Pelosi was up there today. All the big names. Schiff, they're all putting the pressure on Joe. And again, just saying Joe has dementia. The parallels to Ronald Reagan. People said Ronald Reagan had dementia at the end of his presidency. I mean, it's nothing but jokes. Jokes and parallels. And again, I'm not convinced that Slow Joe really is Slow Joe like we see on TV. I mean, as far as I know, he's an actor just like Trump, and he's really playing up the part. I mean, his worst moment in that debate, and let's not forget that debate was the day leaving 187 days left in the year. Or excuse me, it was the 187th day of the year. But that debate with Joe, or geez, I'm having amnesia right now. I think it's the day leaving 187 days left in the year. That's right. That debate with Joe, his lowest moment was, he got to the part about Medicare, Medicaid, and a lot of that has to do with the elderly and people who are rapidly deteriorating. And that's who he was in that moment talking about that. And it led into the perfect punchline with Trump saying, yeah, you really did beat Medicaid down into the ground, or however he said it. It was just so perfectly set up for just like an instant TKO in the opening minutes of the debate. Just like this is such an obvious setup with Trump pumping his fist on the 13th under the 13 stripes, 13 weeks from the anniversary of the Secret Service being established, after supposedly the bullet whizzed by his ear. But then the Secret Service gave him all the time to pause and get his shoes and get just the right shots and the wagging of the fist. I mean, and then you got the comedian, the comedian, might as well be the journalist from the New York Times, the old Jesuit-run 78 paper that supposedly not only captured the photo under the flag, but even captured a photo with the bullet whizzing by. Oh, man. I know in my book, Number Games, I wrote all about 78 and the New York Times and their propaganda. And it's like, here we are again. And you know what? Same people just still deny the work and just say, oh, no, it's just another coincidence. People like my sister. Oh, man. All right, let me see. Now we got Mary Milben for the national anthem. Maybe we're getting close to Trump if we got Mary Milben singing. All right, hold on real quick. Tim Dillon, Alex Jones. I want to play a clip of this. It's been a few years now where Tim Dillon's been a really popular guy. He's up there with Alex Jones and Joe Rogan getting a lot of attention. They put a stream together. Again, Tim Dillon, another one of these Catholic educated guys. the real network. But I want to talk about, again, just a total bullshit podcast. And it's a damn shame it has millions of views because it's the kind of thing that keeps people stupid. But I want to talk about how perfectly aligned it was with Tim Dillon, Catholic educated man. So let's do a little audio check and make sure our audio is good here. I'm going to switch over to the audio level because I think Trump might come. And let's maybe just watch a little bit of what Trump's going to say and get a response in real time. But let me see here if I got it right. I'm switching over audio, so I probably don't sound as clear. And can you hear her singing? Just about the comment on the screen about Caitlin Clark's record 19 assists on the day Biden gets COVID-19 when she plays for the Fever. The other thing about that game, go check it out. You know, she had the record 41 points the other year in Dallas where the game is. Dallas established in 1841, which equals 41 in Gematria, and that's part of the reason the Celtics just beat Dallas 4-1. But her coach came in with 41 last night, the Fever, and she didn't pick up her 42nd. But something we spotted that if Dallas won the game, which was an upset, is they were going to become 6-19 for the year. That's the Juneteenth date, 6-19. And Juneteenth is mostly connected to Texas, this newer national holiday that came after George Floyd's killing, which is a big 201 Jesuit ritual, as we talked about then. But the coach of Dallas, who became 6-19 last night, she did it 28 days after Juneteenth, and Texas is the 28th state in order of statehood. And again, just another big sports ritual in Dallas. With all this, again, you just had the All-Star game in Dallas, with the final score 3-5, like JFK number 35 on I-35, and it was won on the bat of a Boston Red Sox player when the Kennedys are associated with Massachusetts. You can read that score 5-3 like Boston Red Sox equals 53. Again, they picked up their 48th win the American League, and the starting pitcher for the National League was Paul Skeens, 48 days after his birthday with his team 48-48. And again, he plays for Pittsburgh, just outside of Butler, the town named after the 48-year-old man who died. Or Butler, if you look at the town where Trump was just shot, it's named after a man who died at age 48. And again, Donald Trump in Gematria is 48, like Hollywood. But also, just about the World Series. The first ever World Series was Boston beating Pittsburgh 5-3, like Boston Red Sox equals 53. Again, the score of the game was 5-3, one on the bat of a Boston Red Sox who hit the winning home run. And we've been talking about all year, before this year began, the significance of Tim Wakefield's death, who was drafted by the Pirates and won the World Series with Boston. Again, all of these storylines are all synced. It's all part of an ongoing script of ritual murder, rigged sports, connected to rigged politics, paying tribute to history. The same thing we've been exposing for a decade. And it makes me it's so annoying to realize that just so many people out there literally do not have enough IQ points to follow what we've been exposing that is truly undeniable. And instead they're worshiping frauds who mock them and lie to them. And I guess that's just the problem. It's just like that George Carlin rant, that's his joke that everyone plays about, you know, the big club and you're not in it, and how they want a society of useful idiots, not people smart enough to see how they're getting fucked. You know? Again, it's always the Malcolm X quote, be careful or you'll end up essentially worshiping your slave master and hating the person trying to free you. That's not exactly how he said it, but that's essentially what he said. And it looks like we still don't have Trump out here, so. Here, let's just take a minute and listen to these bullshitters.
I'm U.S. Senator Steve Daines, and I represent the great state of Montana, right over there. You know, when I was a kid growing up in Montana, My grandma taught me an important lesson, and that is to have a thankful heart, to count your blessings. So this morning, as I was headed down to breakfast, I thanked God for my sweet wife, Cindy, of 37 years. I thanked God for our 4 children and their spouses. I thanked God for our 6 grandchildren. And then I thank God that in 6 months, Joe Biden will no longer be president of the United States.
Okay. Yeah. Look at this breaking headline, you guys. You remember when they were putting out the tweets about Tiger Woods with the affair, and then they had his tweets about meeting the woman in room 201? Again, 201's big with the Jesuits who wear red and black, especially on Sundays like Tiger. And then let's not forget that Tiger Woods also equals 54 like Jesuit order. So his golf career was ruined with the supposed wreck that nobody saw any proof of on the 54th day of the year. But here we are, Tiger Woods. Now, this is going to blow your mind, right? Because I'm talking all about 201 and Tiger Woods. You know how many days it is today after Tiger Woods' birthday? I already got this because LeBron's son is having the biggest ritual tonight with the Lakers and the Cavs in tribute to King James. LeBron and Tiger have the same December 30th birthday. So today is 201 days after Tiger's birthday, just like it is LeBron's. Look at this, you guys. Tiger and LeBron, both born on the only day and month where you can add the day and month together and equals 42. That number stamped all over Black history. December 30th, 2023 to today, 201 days later. Tiger got shamed with the hotel room 201 tweets put out in the media. Gonna get all steamy in room 201. I bet you someday if there is a supposed Donald Trump porn tape out there with God knows who, Stormy Daniels, it probably will be in room 201 as well. Tiger Woods says he lost sleep over Trump assassination attempt. That's another one of Fox News' favorite ads, the Mike Huckabee sleep assistant. Get some relaxarium or whatever he calls it. Just look at the top ingredients, magnesium. Again, there's different forms of magnesium. One of the magnesiums you can buy in the store is what relaxes your body and helps you sleep. It's actually not a bad way. It's better than pretty much everything else. Any other kind of sleep aid, melatonin. The magnesium's not going to have any side effects. As far as I know, it doesn't really have any negative health effects. But sorry, we're getting off into the woods. What's this about right here? Look how old he is, you guys. 48. The 48-year-old golfer set off from Florida on Saturday for the 152nd edition of the major in Scotland this week. Again, have we not been talking about these numbers? 48, 152 in this stream. I know we talked about both. 48 with everything going on in Butler. Town named after the man who died at 48. The All-Star Game. Trump. 152. Joe Biden and Kamala Debbie Harris have that 152. We can just break the news down as fast as they break it. These people's scripts are so tired, and again, we've been exposing the script, within seconds of the propaganda breaking for a long time now. So it's just too easy at this point. Well, they say shooting fish in a barrel. Ava Moon says, MK Ultra. Ava Moon, I think you're the first person to ever do a super chat for $7. I've never seen that amount before, but thank you. MK Ultra Much, I will post in comments. Chris Morlock commercial with BlackRock. Parents are both licensed social workers. I don't know if this is the same commercial that they pulled with the shooter or a different one. Chris Morlock. All right. I'll have to look into that. I appreciate the heads up, Ava Moon. Thank you again, Barbara. I recognize Barbara's out there. Good to see Barbara's out there today. Yeah, it's just. Well, was there anything about this Tiger Woods losing sleep before today, or did this story break today? Tiger Woods, y'all. Let's see. Trump assassination. Let's see what comes up. It reminds me that Trump was doing all those Serta mattress ads, counting sheep. wearing the same suit and tie, talking about being born for the job. Okay, so this story actually did break yesterday. That's even more perfect. It's more perfect that it broke yesterday, because look at this. Yesterday would have been a span of 201 days, right? And then it's that combination again coming together. The total Jesuit combination when we've been talking about, again, Tiger Woods and so many of these big stars on the world stage, from Tiger to Trump, just being these perfect Jesuit puppets. July 17th, 201. It's another entry for the history books of how they put these numbers together. Remember, Catherine the Great, who preserved the Jesuit order with 201 Jesuit priests, her husband died. That's how she even became the ruler, Catherine the Great. And men dying and women becoming the leader. Maybe there's a joke here. Tiger Woods has fallen from, good grace with a lot of people over his scandalous affair. But then at the same time, nobody cares about it with Trump. Anyway, the Jesuit Order 177-201. So CNN puts this on their front page today, 201 days after his birthday. But again, yesterday would have been the 201st day of his age on 17/7. Captain Tom, remember, he was knighted on that day, and then he died 201 days later. There was a recent assassination ritual in Haiti with 177 and 201. I got to go back and revisit. But these numbers have come together a number of times, and here it is again. So this actually broke yesterday with Tiger losing sleep. And, he's a golfer like Trump. We're probably not too far off on Trump doing all those Serta ads, counting sheep. Counting sheep, that's what they do on Selection Day. All the sheep still go out to vote for the rigged selection that was already planned and written long ago. Just like all the predictive programming for decades about Trump being president in association with the number 58. They put it out in a number of ways. And then all these years later, in 2015, he announces he's running for the 58th election from the 58-story Trump Tower and wins the thing by the numbers. So, Tiger Woods just couldn't sleep. Here, let's just read the reporting. Let's just see what it sounds like. They know that it's celebrity. It's the land of celebrity worship. So, just everyone into this. Oh, what did Tiger think about it? Yeah. Scotland, right? Like the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, Trump of Scottish ancestry against. I should have looked into the golf tournament. I didn't look into it this time. We should have. We smashed the Masters again. Saw like almost the whole leaderboard before the tournament even began. Remember the epic earthquake, the biggest in the Northeast in like over 100 years, and it was right on, the epicenter was on Trump's golf course on 4-5. And remember that course was open when Trump was 58 years old? Nuclear weapon and nuclear energy equal 58. You don't think they put something way down in the ground as a little planned little celebration? Augusta equals 45, like green jacket. Next thing you know, Scotty Scheffler's putting it on right after the earthquake, the mega earthquake at Trump's golf course, right next to where Scotty Scheffler grew up. That was right before the 88th Masters, and Scotty Scheffler equals 88, like Trump. Like Oprah asked Trump about being president in 88. BlackRock established in 88. This shooter was in a BlackRock ad. Yeah, from the first pro tournament at Trump's golf course to the earthquake was exactly 88 weeks later, too. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. That's how scripted it is. And that's why you guys, it's like, how do we wake up the sleeping masses when we just can't get them to see through this right here? How obvious bullshit this was. The 13th, under the 13 stripes, literally 13 weeks into the anniversary of the Secret Service being created. And again, that was created on April 14th. Here, let's get that up here. April 14th, 1865. So from the anniversary of that to the Trump shooting, July 13th, full span, exactly 13 weeks into it. 91 days, like the Society of Jesus, the formal title of the Jesuits. Fire Joe Biden. Just all the jokes, you guys. Just people have no idea. People have no idea. You see the gematria of you're fired? You're fired. We've been talking this for years. You're fired. 144.54, just like the Jesuit order, 63. 144.54 and 63 all time with Kennedy curse. RFK, dead at 1:44 in the morning. In Ambassador Hotel, which equals 54. Dealey Plaza equals 54. JFK dead 144 days from meeting with the Pope in 63. RFK Jr. got in the race officially on April 5th, which can be written 4-5 or 5-4, 144 days after the Superior General's birthday. Remember, tomorrow's going to be 457 days. Tomorrow's going to be exactly 457 days since RFK gave his first speech while he's running for president, which was on Ignatius of Loyola Day, April 19th, fateful day. From that day to tomorrow is 457 days, the 88th prime. And I wonder if all this pressure that's just been building on Biden, I wonder if by tomorrow, the 201st day of the leap year, we don't see something. Or do they wait maybe till Saturday? Typically the 201st day of the year, the 202nd day of the leap year. DC, the 202 area code, whatever it is coming close. It's getting close. All these people right here, no idea. This is the definition of useful idiots right here. Make America great again. If only they knew how many rituals have been done with the gematria of that phrase, man. Woo! Fire Joe Biden. President Biden also equals 144. Don't forget, Jesuit Georgetown simulated Biden would win the election June 12, 2020, 144 days before it happened. I've been telling you all year why Biden was going to become number 46 weeks after the Pope. Just like how we explained in February 2016, before Trump was even the nominee, why he'd be the winner in 2016. And yes, I did come off that prediction later in the year, but I saw it right from the beginning. The polarizing man, the entertainer, the perfect person for this movie made America. All right. The bullshit RNC convention has 6.6K likes right now. Sheep eating it up. In 10 years of making videos, I don't think we have a total of 6.6K likes, as sad as that is to say. People hate the truth. They love the show. So. All right. Here, I'm going to come to this thing right now about Tim Dillon and Alex Jones. Alex Jones, just shameful human being he is. Just total fraud. Lies to the camera, no problem. Total sellout. If you haven't seen this stream, he's talking about how in recent years, Jeff Bezos types have had him in rooms offering him $50 million to just shut up. It's like, shut up about what? What have you exposed? That China, the Tricoms are running the... I mean, just nothing but bullshit from this guy. Nothing but bullshit. But yeah, Tim Dillon. Again, a few years ago, everybody and their mom was telling me I need to watch Tim Dillon. He's hilarious. I'm sorry, guys. I've never laughed once from Tim Dillon. I just look at him. I think mediocrity. I think not interesting. I think fat slob. I think, how's it even possible? But then I look at Tim. It's just like so many of these little shits on the internet who have no business being famous, who haven't earned it at all. All Catholic, Jesuit educated, every last one of them. Every last one of them. I'm talking about the Destinies. That little beta male that plays video games and talks bullshit. How's he famous? Revenge of the nerds on the internet. But anyway, remember, the shooting was 157 days before the Pope's birthday, and the shooter's name, Thomas Crooks, is 157, which is the 37th prime, which is a big shooting number, and it's also a joke with Richard Nixon, the 37th president, who resigned for Ford, and the word Ford is connected to the assassinations of Kennedy and Lincoln, and also Gerald Ford predicted in the Herbert Hoover Library that someday an old man would die, while there's a female VP and she'd become the first woman president, and lo and behold, Kamala Harris, born on the same day Herbert Hoover died, and Gerald Ford said that in the Herbert Hoover Library, and Biden's been comparing Trump to Herbert Hoover. And I might need to check, but Herbert Hoover might have died at age 88, if I'm not mistaken. But, the Gematria shooting, again, the town of Butler, would be it's in its 107th year of existence, established in 1918, so it's 106 years and change old when this happened, and it's 107th year of existence, while JFK would be 107. Again, we were talking about this earlier with the deaths of Lou Dobbs and Bob Newhart. We were talking about the 44s as well, and Lou Dobbs dying 44 years after becoming the lone conservative on CNN. 109 in the shooting Gematria, that's the 29th prime. Trump equals 29. The shooting was 29 days after Trump's birthday, and bullseye equals 29, which were the words Biden used. 109 is important, too, because April 19th, Ignatius of Loyola Day, the day RFK Jr. gave his first speech, that's the 109th day of the year. 107, 44, 109, they're big military numbers. They're numbers all over the U.S.'s wars throughout history, including the American Revolutionary War beginning on Ignatius Loyola Day, April 19th. Fateful day. Again, Ignatius Loyola created the Jesuits. The Jesuits gave us the calendar. You followed the calendar. You realize the rituals are happening year after year. April 19th is Waco, of course, where Alex Jones got his start in Oklahoma City. In this interview that he did, Alex Jones is talking about how what's going to happen he said it was going to happen at Milwaukee. It hasn't happened yet, and he still has tonight to be proven correct. But he said it was going to be like Oklahoma City. Somebody's going to come in with the truck and the plastic bombs and blow the whole place apart, and maybe Trump's house or where Trump's speaking, you're going to see like a Timothy McVeigh type attack. Remember, Timothy McVeigh equals 201, like Terry Lynn Nichols, like Mercury Marquis, and the list goes on. So many 201s with the McVeigh, very Jesuit attack on the Oklahoma City Federal Building. By the way, Alfred P. Murrah Federal Building, 144. But yeah, Alex Jones referenced that. And remember, Bill Maher, another little Jesuit, said after January 6th that was the 93 World Trade Center bombing, and 2024 would be 9/11. Alex Jones is kind of channeling that. Both pawns of this Jesuit cabal are these men who are on the world stage. And Tim Dillon's one of them too. But notice, from Tim Dillon's January 22nd birthday to the day that Jones and him did this podcast, which was 2 days after the shooting on 15/7, remember, we're talking about the 157 in the shooting. On 15/7, the opening day of the convention, they put this out. 175 days after Tim Dillon's birthday, Catholic educated. Pope Francis, 175. He's from Hicksville, New York, where he got his Catholic education. 175. Remember, in Revelation 17:5, it talks about the whore of Babylon, which is the Catholic Church. Whore of Babylon 71, like Babylon 71, like Catholic 71. Number all over a million different things. It's part of why Trump took office in his 71st year of life. It's why the war broke out in Israel on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days for the popes. This 71 number, another very special one to the cabal. But Tim Dillon, born on January 22nd, 122, 175 days later, right? Catholic educated, doing this stream that's gotten a lot of views in the social media world, a lot of responses. Where, again, Alex Jones is talking a whole ton of bullshit, but also laying out some things about how he sees these pipe bomb trucks, used politically to kill and also to ignite a race war. And isn't that interesting? Because remember, the Turner Diaries, that's supposedly what inspired McVeigh to blow up the Oklahoma City building in response to Waco as well. The Turner Diaries equals 194, like the date of the attack, 19/4. And Joe Biden, who's right now in this election and part of this moment of history, it was Joe Biden who passed the nation's first counterterrorism legislation, again on Governor Keating's birthday, February 10th, 68 days before the terrorist attack by McVeigh, the man born in 68, when terror itself equals 68. Again, that's the year 911 became the national emergency dialing code and World Trade Center construction began in New York. Timothy McVeigh was put to death right before 9/11, 3 months to the day. The Twin Towers became 0 towers before they became one World Trade Center. 201. McVeigh was sentenced to death years earlier on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. All these numbers up here for Benedict, or I said Benedict, that was the Pope before him. Pope Francis. Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year. The 59th presidential election is where Joe Biden was elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, in parallel to JFK, who was killed at 46 when John F. Kennedy is also 59. Kamala's 59 right now, where Biden's under all this pressure to step down for her. Pope Francis became a Jesuit in 1958, completed his first year with the Jesuits in 59. Of course, Trump, he won that 58th election and started running for president shortly after Pope Francis became the first Jesuit pope. But in light of this just whore of Babylon thing and just the ongoing rituals and the repetitiveness, remember, these people use the Bible like a playbook. The Tower of Babel in the Bible, which has to do with Babylon and Nimrod, the story comes to an end in Genesis 11:9, where God punishes the people of the world by scattering them across the world and speaking different languages so they can no longer communicate because they built this tall tower in defiance of God. But it's Genesis 11:9, like how the majority of the world writes the date 11/9, the 11th of September. Again, this destructive event with this tower divided people along religious lines, like how the Tower of Babel ends up about in a more divided world. Just, again, 119, Donald equals 119, again, called president-elect on November 9th in 2016, and now, very good chance he takes office with the 119th Congress, and he was connected to that day, 9/11. Again, the whore of Babylon's a wicked thing. Donald Trump, has all the mega connections, the top degree of the Church of Satan. Again, the highest tenet of Satanism is to worship yourself, which is pretty much all Trump does. And so does Alex Jones, too. I mean, and as far as I'm concerned, both guys are totally pathetic, and all the people who follow them are even more pathetic. And sadly, there are a lot of pathetic people. And that's why people don't like me, because they think I'm arrogant and mean and talk down to people too much. But again, really, I'm just the product of having to grow up in this inept society where everyone's fucking retarded and falling for all this bullshit every day and dragging me to hell with them. So, again, I know that those are true statements. I haven't been getting deceived by this bullshit. I haven't been going along with all this evil bullshit. And I'm the one who's always getting, put down by the lemming masses. Literally lemmings. Lemmings are creatures that just drive themselves right to the cliff. Getting put down by the lemming masses like there's something wrong with me. I think that later I'm going to play this video and respond to it. I want to play a clip of what Alex Jones is saying about how they're going to start this race war, and then I just want to get... Alex Jones sees a race war coming really soon, because he sees... He was explaining, like, groups, like, blowing up black churches, like what happened in Charleston times 10. And... again, it remains to be seen if anything like this happens, but remember, something we've been talking about since George Floyd. Tomorrow, July 19th, 2024, will be the 8th anniversary of the death of a Gematria who died in police custody in Paris, France, where the Jesuits are from. And after George Floyd died, they protested the names George Floyd and a Gematria together. Now, here's the thing. From a Gematria's death to George Floyd's death was exactly 201 weeks later. And again, the Gematria died on the 201st day of the year. And George Floyd's full name, George Perry Floyd, equals 201. You saw a lot of his baby mama in the news. And it was one of the only times you've ever seen CNN, introduce somebody as baby mama. Because, again, it's all racial, right? Part of the audience is looking at it like, see, that's what's wrong with these people. They, call their significant other their baby mama. But they bring her on. Baby mama, Roxy Washington. Roxy Washington equals 201. Right away, they brought a guy on. CNN's one of the first people they interviewed was a guy named Lamar Ferguson, 201. But it automatically reminded you of Michael Brown, who was jumped off the Black Lives Matter thing after the killing in Ferguson, Missouri. So we were told. Michael Brown, 201. Again, the Jesuit Order, 201. Order of Illuminati, 201. MLK killed 201 weeks later. Gun control major legislation in 68. Starting to undermine what the Second Amendment's about. But this 201 thing, after the George Floyd killing, and remember it happened on Memorial Day, which came out of the Civil War, and Confederate equals 201, and remember Harriet Tubman equals 201, and the Skull and Bones member Steve Mnuchin had just announced that they were no longer going to do the $20 Harriet Tubman bill in tribute to her. They were going to change it, and then George Floyd's getting busted at the same time with the counterfeit 20. Steve Mnuchin, the head of the Treasury, former Skull and Bones member, and another 201 society, modeled after the Templars, like the Templar crosses and the Jesuit logo. But you had all these 201s with George Floyd, and then all the Confederate statues started to come down. Again, Confederates 201. And then the only Confederate statue in D.C. of Albert Pike, the Mason, and also who wrote the letter about 3 world wars, dated and published on the Jesuit Order's birthday, August 15th, 1871. The day that Albert Pike statue came down, June 19th, the year before they made Juneteenth an official holiday, from that statue coming down to January 6th, again, that was 201 days later. Confederate 201, the Confederate flag flew. Lincoln blamed the Civil War on the Jesuits. The Jesuits, their order preserved by Catherine the Great with 201 Jesuit priests in Russia. Again, Biden and Putin meet 201 days after the first Jesuit Ignatian year begins. Russia-Ukraine breaks out in a big 2-0 ritual. Just the other week, 201 days from Zelensky's birthday, you're having the big NATO conference in Washington with even more money being pledged. Again, the point is, all of this stuff is being orchestrated by a code, but coming back to the race war part, this is the other part about George Floyd. We're hitting all the 201s. Another number that was very important to George Floyd is 225. From his October 14th birthday to his death was his 225th day of his age. And then Derek Chauvin eventually got 22 and a half years in prison. And the Catholic Church, the day after the news broke of George Floyd, which was actually the day after the supposed killing, it was May 25th, Memorial Day. Then the news broke May 26th, the cell phone footage. That's when everything popped off. The next day, May 27th, it was a national headline that the Catholic Church of Minnesota, where George Floyd was killed, settled for $22.5 million for the sexual abuse of children in the state. 22.5 like 225. And then they put out the story like a few days later about George Floyd's second grade teacher who remembered what a cute little kid he was, and the teacher's name was Waynel Sexton. Like anal sex. Anyway, we did a big decode at that time, and I showed how there was this alignment with the numbers 225 and 93, and again, Minneapolis, Minnesota's 93 land, it equals 93, and it's on the 93rd meridian, and I was showing how these numbers factored into Revelation and the Great Tribulation, right? So when I was presenting that in 2020, in the days after George Floyd, like I presented and said, like, I'm not sure about all this because we never talked about this, and I've never caught onto this pattern before, but I think they might be pointing to 2025 and igniting a bigger race war. And then, shortly, maybe a year after that, Amazon puts a movie on their platform called Lockdown 2025, which has to do with like chaos breaking out in the U.S. and it's very racially based, and it shows this countdown in the background. And then the last time they show the countdown is when the number counts to 93. Again, I was just like, wow, this is crazy about how we were saying this a year earlier. Now this movie's out and they're like bringing the same number pattern together, 225 and 93. And again, you guys, the Bible just used as a playbook. The Great Tribulation's about in the end of the world, this highly destructive time. And you see how this cabal is purposely bringing about destruction and chaos to society that does not need to happen. And they're doing it to move people so that the ruling class can gain further and further control over them. You know, just destroying, making us more easily conquered, weaker, dumber, more confused, more provoked by our neighbor rather than by our slave master. But yeah, watching Alex Jones talk about this today, I was like, man, it's just, I see all the elements of everything he's bringing and think about what his whole history is. I mean, talking a whole lot of bullshit, but he might not be far off with them really escalating and doing some crazy stuff in the world like they have in the past. Again, I just keep thinking about what Bill Maher said right after January 6th. He's like, you just watch, the next election's going to be 9/11, this is the 93 World Trade Center. And remember, Bill Maher's show 9/11, he lost his supposed show, Politically Incorrect, and then exactly 33 weeks later, he's on Jesuit-run HBO, broadcasting from the 187 studio, the All-Seeing Eye studio where CBS, the All-Seeing Eye Network, and HBO do their thing at. But yeah, this Tim Dillon, again, just another, as far as I'm concerned, no talent, non-deserving loser. That again, you know, I mean, they know who to put out there in front of it's sad that we live in a society where almost everyone is like obese and inept, and this is probably just more who they resonate with. They're like, he looks like me. He doesn't make me feel bad about the triple chin I have. Nobody should have a triple chin. At Tim Dillon's age, in his 30s, I mean, it's gross. See, I mean, how do you convince a society that you should not listen to a fat slob when almost everyone is a fat slob? The right way they're going to tune you out. It's true, though. If somebody doesn't even care about themselves, do you think they really care about you or anything else? If you are a fat slob, you could never convince me that you care about yourself. Not in a million years. I'm sorry. A fat slob doesn't care about themselves, and if you don't care about yourself, I don't trust that you care about anything. And then to call yourself a comedian when you're not even funny? There's way too many people doing that. Way too many people calling themselves comedians who are not funny at all. Tim Dillon and many more. And then what else makes me sick is, you know, Tim Dillon, this video, This video is almost at 3 million views. That's $15,000. 3 million views when you're monetized. Every million views is $5,000. It might be up now. That was actually in 2018. With inflation, who knows? Maybe a million views is $8,000 now. But we'll just say it's still 5,000. It's, you know, 15,000 for nothing but a propaganda podcast with nothing but bullshit. These people are allowed to monetize their bullshit and their fear-mongering. Nobody else can. You know, if I do a video talking about the subject matter they are, I'm not monetized. That video is demonetized. I was trying to watch this thing. It was annoying as hell. It had like commercials every 3 minutes. Like this guy's got the buttons, all the buttons clicked for max commercials, for max revenue. He's probably getting $20,000 per million views. I've never done that before. It gives you that option when you're a creator, when your channel is monetized. You can check like $1 million if you want to do the max ads. I always do the minimum. And hardly any of my channels have been monetized. Also, that's another thing. I've had 25 channels. 4 have been monetized out of the 25. And I didn't even try to monetize a channel until 2018, to be perfectly honest. But we've had almost 10 new channels since 2018. And again, the ones that have been able to be monetized, this one's been the longest. None of the other ones even lasted like 3-4 months. No, they want people to listen to these bullshitters who lead them nowhere, just feed them a whole bunch of fear. Alex Jones nearly died in this broadcast. He was choking on his cigarette. I was just like, God, that's another guy. And then he blamed it on it being 5 in the morning, like 5 a.m. Like, well, maybe it's because you're sucking down too many cigarettes and you're a fat slob who's full of shit. Yeah, again, you know, I'm never going to be the person that resonates with America because, you know, I'm not one of the fat slobs. I'm not one of the dumbasses. I can have a conversation and one that's based on somebody who has an attention span, which is almost something that doesn't exist anymore. But anyway. Tim Dillon, by the way, you know, interesting numbers in the name, isn't it? 135, big CIA number. I don't follow him enough to know if he's been a whole Trump guy the whole time, but that makes some sense. I just noticed in some places he calls himself Tim J. Dillon, and in the other places he calls himself Tim Dillon, but some numbers stood out there. Went to Holy Trinity High School, Catholic school in Hicksville. He's doing it with Alex Jones on the day that the guy who wrote the Hillbilly Elegy, again, the youngest nominee since Teddy Roosevelt, who was shot in Milwaukee, just saw all the jokes, things Alex Jones will never point out. Again, remember, Bill Cooper warned that Alex Jones was nothing but a liar and a fraud. Alex Jones copied Bill Cooper's 9/11 prediction. Bill Cooper dead on Remember the 5th of November, 2001, shortly after 9/11. All right. Well, we still haven't gotten Trump up there. They're probably saving him more towards prime time. People are home on the East Coast and West Coast. Trump's first speech since the assassination attempts. Again, with all the tributes to Kennedy, right? The Kennedy assassination in the 187th year of the nation's existence. He's going to speak tonight, 18/7, 187 days from Inauguration Day. The Tiger Woods thing just kills me, man. Fandango founder identified as man who fell to death from New York City hotel. I mean, that doesn't sound suspicious to you? Isn't Fandango the movie ticket company? I remember when they were a thing. Obviously, they've probably still been a thing, but a newer thing. I think like you could start buying tickets online or something. Okay, let's take a look at this real quick. Fandango founder identified as man who fell to death from New York City hotel. J. Michael Klein, the founder of movie ticket company Fandango, fell to his death from a New York City hotel Tuesday. So this would have been July 16th. That's 16/7, you guys. 167, 39th prime, New York 39 land. Every New York Super Bowl they've ever won comes back to 39, including the first one the Jets won with a score of 16-7, like that date. The New York Police Department said that around 10 a.m. on Tuesday, the 64-year-old was found with injuries indicating he fell from an elevated height from the Kimberly Hotel. Now, 64, again, the word kills 64. The Trump scare was, again, on the 64 date numerology, on the 64th anniversary of Kennedy accepting the Democratic nominee. They say he jumped from the 20th floor hotel. Death has that gematria 20. Like time, like cross. He went to Cornell and Harvard. I honestly don't know anything about this man. J. Michael Klein, co-founder of Fandango. When you punch in his name, they don't give you a Wikipedia for it. That's pretty interesting that he doesn't have a Wikipedia. I can't explain the pain. He left a suicide note. Oh, okay. Something tells me. Something tells me it wasn't a suicide. Well, I don't know his birthday, which is usually part of a decode. J. Michael Klein, interesting numbers. I just wonder, in the time of the GOP convention, we know Donald John Trump 76. We talked about why this number mattered for a lot of reasons, but including with the assassination. The shooter's name, Thomas Matthew Crooks, has the gematria of 76, 247, and 104. It's interesting. I mean, there's a lot more I could say about all these numbers, but I'm just thinking about how it... Kimberly Hotel. He was in room 20. You see how they have to say he was 64 and in room 28? Just the date numerology of Trump having the assassination scare was the kill date, because the date numerology that day was 64, 44, 28. So in room 28, 64 years old. That's why when you just look at this stuff in the details, it's like, seems to be communicating something other than suicide. Unless it is that there's just power to these numbers, and when they align and you're in the wrong spiritual place, they just make you jump out the window because it was that time. Let's see. Fandango. Is that how you spell that? Fandango. They announced this on a Thursday that they identified who he was. Here, let me see if they identified who he was before today. So they're covering it today. Let me see. All right, several of the main publications from the New York Times to the New York Post to CNN are covering it today, but it looks like the news might have actually also broken yesterday. 17/7. Look at the address, you guys. 145 East 50th Street. Interesting date. Catholic equals 145. 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament than Protestant. It's why Israel, the Jewish nation, was created on 14/5. And David Ben Gurion, the first PM, his name's 145. Don't forget how they did David Ben Gurion dirty 201 days after the anniversary of Israel's establishment. State of Israel is another 201, another Jesuit Catholic creation by the code throughout history, where these people have just been moving seamlessly, almost invisible to the masses. Like Tupac on the beginning of that song, You Can't See Me. They had to put out the Machiavelli album on the Jesuit Day, Guy Fawkes Day. All right. Yeah, movie made America. Kimberly Hotel. I mean, there's probably something that's going over my head too. The day that he died is typically the 196th day of the year, that Tuesday. typically the 196th day. So the anniversary of his death in non-leap years will be on the 196th day of the year. That was July 16th he passed. Or hold on. Maybe I'm doing bad math. I take that back. That's incorrect. One other thing actually does stand out about July 16th, though, is the day leaving 168 days left in the year. New York City has that 168. All right. Check one more thing about Fandango. Maybe they got a Wikipedia. I just wonder when that started. Started in 2000, 24 years ago. Okay. April 27th would have been the 118th day of the leap year. Says for the founder, J. Michael Klein. NBC owns it. Wasn't The Apprentice on NBC? That's back when The Apprentice was booming. Around that time. The Apprentice show. Here, just out of curiosity, one more check. April 27th, 2024 to his passing June 17th. 51 days later, or a span of 52. You know what? One thing we always talk about. Here's one other thing about that date. That date numerology was 67. 67 date numerology that day. Blood sacrifice 67, just like human sacrifice. Just like the word satanic is 67. And again, a lot of sacrifice in the world of celebrity. A lot of tributes, some more subtle than others, to Satan. A lot of people not picking up on the jokes like Trump and MAGA. What Obama and he did on April 30th, 2011. Again, the 45th birthday of that organization. I got to imagine, I see your comment, I got to imagine more people are talking about the Illuminati card game connection. Again, the Illuminati card game with Donald Trump's face, enough is enough, that equals 78. Like this whole thing goes down in the Mega 78 ritual while Trump's that age. And again, now Lou Dobbs, the lone conservative from CNN, dead at 78, 44 years after starting with the network. On the fourth day of the GOP convention, shortly before Trump's the headline speaker tonight. Fandango Media has that 68. Interesting. Yeah, if we had a birthday for this guy, it'd be helpful, but I don't know. Somehow, some way, with all the show business stuff, something tells me, and again, just Teddy Roosevelt, the parallels going on with this convention, him being a New York guy, Trump being a New York guy. Something tells me that guy flying out that window has something to do with what's going on with Donald Trump trying to create the Ronald Reagan moment from 40 years ago. Ronald Reagan, the Hollywood actor, number 40, reelected 40 years ago after suffering that shooting, in his case, a few years earlier. Amy, remember, I do put out notifications on Twitter, Facebook, and on freetofindtruth.com almost anytime I post. So if you're on any of those things following me, increases your chances of getting a notification. All right. Yeah, we can leave it there. I think we're up to date on the latest headlines. Just make sure, run over all the networks real quick. Grand finale. Here, let's see what the hype is before the speech. Remember that I've heard that Trump rewrote the whole thing after the assassination, and he wants it to be really uniting. It's amazing that anybody. I mean, this is why you need a society of useful idiots. If people have a brain, nobody's tolerating any of these candidates. I mean, you're not tolerating the guy that sold you out for the 99.9% survival illness for the Switzerland banker agenda that's caused all the inflation because we printed so much money that Slow Joe, Dementia Joe, like Dementia Reagan's only added on to. Again, the 1-2 punch from these two Jesuit clowns that we're being made to choose from again for the moment. Former President Trump will refer several times to the current administration or the current leadership in his address to the Republican National Convention, but highly placed sources say the former president will not use the word Biden once. We've been saying for years the Biden joke is just the phrase Biden is time. It's all symbolic. It's all wordplay. It's all mockery. Trump on Thursday will formally accept the GOP presidential nomination during the closing night and culminating moment of the 2024 convention. Today is 110 days before the election. Don't forget that, because president equals 110. So does Adolf Hitler, whose birthday is the 110th day of the year. They always like to draw parallels between Trump and Adolf. And again, Adolf modeled the Nazis after the Jesuits. And the name on his birth certificate, Adolphus Hitler equals 201. And the guy who's blamed for the Reichstag fires is Mr. 201. And the plot to kill... Oh, let's not forget that. Actually, the plot to kill Hitler was July 20th, the 201st day of a non-leap year. So we'll see. We'll see. Tomorrow's the 201st day of the year. Inauguration day, the 201st day of the nation's age. The former president's speech to the party faithful inside Milwaukee's Fiserv Forum. But what is Fiserv anyway? What is that company about? Fiserv. What do they do? Financial services, okay. Donald Trump's owned by the banks, bailed out 1,000 times, except for Rudy Giuliani couldn't get. Remember they did Alex Jones not getting the bankruptcy ritual synced up with Trump, and then Rudy Giuliani couldn't get the bankruptcy settlement 45 days from his birthday, but Trump got 1 million bankruptcies. It's all part of the joke. He's the chosen one; they aren't. Everyone falling for the chosen stooge, born with a silver spoon in his mouth, who still paints himself orange because he's that vain. It's like, dude, you're nearly 80 years old and you still spend half your day painting yourself orange? I mean, come on, man. He's like, you know what I mean? I got to put myself to grab the pussy. You know, got to look my best, 78 or 80 or 8. Anyway. The former president's speech to the party faithful inside Milwaukee's Fiserv Forum and to a national television audience is likely to be north of an hour, sources told Fox News' Bret Baier, the network's chief political anchor and executive editor of Special Report with Bret Baier. Oh, thanks for all that. So, it's supposed to be over an hour. Five days after the assassination attempt, the fourth day of the convention, saying it's going to be about a push for party unity with no mentions of Joe Biden. If you guys missed the tribute to Van Gogh, it really is. It's that funny. It's the art of war. I'm forgetting something important about the date July 16th in history, and it's not coming to mind, but I know there's something else about that date. July 26th is New York's birthday. There's something to July 16th, too. Okay. Yeah, we'll see the speech soon enough, so. Here, let's see how MSNBC, who appointed the first black woman in the time of the George Floyd, 201 days before Black History Month, to be the first black woman to head a nation, or head a news network station. Shout out to Gematria32 in the chat. He found a clip from the 90s with Melania seemingly. I'm not sure that's the same clip that I remember from the past, though, where she's paying tribute to the Kennedy assassination, but it does have parallels, what you found. I feel like there's something else that's not in that video you uploaded. But yeah, Gematria32, you see him in the chat. Check out his channel. He just recently uploaded this old footage of Melania from the 90s. I forgot to even look at the Bob Menendez story. I forgot about that one. Yesterday we talked about the RFK Jr. Trump leak. Just the about vaccines, and then later in the day, Joe's got the virus. Oh my God, man, it's just okay. JFK Jr. died July 16th. Huh? That's actually not what I was thinking of, but that's probably not an accident. It's probably not an accident. So it's the 25th anniversary. He was 38 years old, right? Death equals 38, like murder, like killing, like RIP. The Trump assassination scare was 38 days after the anniversary of Reagan's death and the anniversary of RFK getting shot. June 5th. 38, that number of death. Yeah, that's right. JFK Jr. got it at 38. And remember, when JFK was announced dead, it was Walter Cronkite who broke the news, and he said some 38 minutes ago. Some 38 minutes ago. All right. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there, you guys. Yeah, tomorrow, 201st day of the year. I'll probably be busy. I'll probably be broadcasting a lot. If we get any big headlines tonight before then, I'll be on. But I think tomorrow it could be the day that we've been anticipating. When he's 81 and she's 59, we'll see. We'll see if that's how they do it. Sajad says, Benjamin Netanyahu today. Here's Agent 201 over in Israel. Remember, he stepped down on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year, came back on 12/29, like 12/29 is the 201st prime, the anniversary of Albert Pike's birthday, who wrote the letter about 3 world wars, published on the Jesuit Order's birthday, where the Third World War has to do with political Zionism, which is why we put out the video the day Netanyahu came back, December 29, 2022, about the major war coming in Israel in 2023, and probably around the time Yale turned 322 years old, only for that war to begin 2 days before Yale turned 322. Netanyahu literally declared war 1 day before Yale turned 322 on October 8th. War began on 10/7, like that 107, that shooting military number, the anniversary of us going into Afghanistan after the lines of 9/11. They hit you with a copyright for that, Gematria32? They took down that video? All right, well, here's how he found it. Isn't that crazy that they don't want you to see that video, and maybe that's why it's been so hard to find lately, because I was saying it used to be on the internet. So Gematria32, I've been talking about how Melania did this thing in the 90s paying tribute to the Kennedy assassination. Again, Kennedy, 78. The shooting of Trump was 78 days after her birthday, after the whole Stormy Daniels thing. You know, she might have been a little sour about that. Could be the narrative, but Stormy Daniels, 78. 93 Slovenian clothing company commercial. A 23-year-old Melania poses as the first woman president of the United States. Okay. Donald has that Gematria 23. Remember The Simpsons, they got all kinds of predictive programming. They even got the cartoon of Ivanka Trump running for president in 2028, the year she turns 47, when president, White House, government authority, Republican, Democrat, they all equal 47 plus the name Trump. Gematria32 did upload it to his channel the other day. But I remember, I hadn't seen it for years, but what you uploaded, I just remember being a little bit different than what I saw. I swear there's a scene she did paying tribute to like the JFK thing. So. Here, let's look that up. Melania, 1993, first female president. Her maiden name, her maiden name was Knobs. So, yeah, in her bio, she portrayed the first female president of the United States in 93. You know, that's funny, too, because who did we get for president in 93? We got Bill and Hillary Clinton, right? And then Donald Trump runs against Hillary. And Bill had the legal sexual problems like Trump. And then Trump was on the verge of being locked up after Shannon locked her up. Around age 23 or 24, right? Here we are in this campaign cycle, 2023, 2024. Paris, too, right? The land of the Jesuits. Paris, France, 56, like Washington, D.C., like Society of Jesus, like she was the first to wear baby blue for Inauguration Day since Jackie Kennedy, who'd done it 56 years before 2016 or 2017, back in 61. And now here we are 56 years since RFK got shot. Again, huge Jesuit number. Big number with Trump and why the pandemic began 56 years after his Jesuit education. Again, 56 in the Jesuits. And now Gavin Newsom, Mr. 56, when he locked down California, 56 years old. As he might be, you know, we all know he's very high in the running to potentially replace Biden, you know, who's now got COVID. We speculated on this exact scenario 4 years ago, man. It's funny watching it all unfold almost exactly like how we saw it. All right, so yeah, that is the story. Melania, first female president. And I just remember when I looked into this story years ago, I just remember some kind of little tribute, the way they did it in one of the shots with it was like the Kennedy assassination scene with her in the convertible. Gematria 32 had to upload the other day related to this, and I didn't see that clip in there. And I swear it was there. So unless, you know, over time, your mind can blur things a little bit, but this is all part of it, right? The first female president. Remember, Michelle Obama's mom just died, and the next thing you know, Mexico's got the first female president. It's right in this window we talked about where things are going to get super hot. For 4 years out, we've called all this shit dead on. That's what's crazy, and seemingly nobody still gives a shit. We get almost no recognition for all the amazing things we've done. Doing easily the best work in terms of exposing what the Illuminati is and how these puppet politicians are run, and almost nobody cares. It's a damn shame. Alex Jones, Tim whoever, you know, tens of thousands of people on the stream. Right now we got 200 people on the stream. What a joke. Oh, man, what a joke. Yeah, it wasn't a good upload. Truth does not exist. It wasn't a good upload. I mean, I did a lot of videos at that time, but again, it's really not that helpful of a video. You guys can read all the posts I have on my old written sites about all of the Trump predictive programming for an assassination. We've been documenting it since 2016. They've been laying out the script with De Niro and the Trump tombstone and the parallels to George Wallace. Again, George Wallace equals 60 like Donald Trump. Now in the 60th presidential election, again, spanned to 60 days from George Wallace being shot. It's Trump. And we pointed out right then, isn't it funny that Trump did Operation Warp Speed on the 48th anniversary of George Wallace being shot? And the next thing you know, Trump's or Biden's got supposedly the virus. It's again, but again, you can't get people to even understand under the 13 stripes on the 13th, 13 weeks from the anniversary of the establishment of the Secret Service. And again, the Secret Service's original mission was to stop counterfeit money. And we know how many 13s are on our dollar bill. So Donald Trump made of money. Symbolism all over. All kinds of angles to it. Nima says, did you know Wilton Daniel Gregory, the first African-American cardinal, equals John Fitzgerald Kennedy in 3 out of the 4 ciphers? Now, he's not the guy in Chicago, right, that was appointed. Hold on. I remember a story the other year. I remember it like it was yesterday. Tom Brady was supposed to play in Sunday Night Football, and it was the first time you've ever seen Tom Brady moved out of prime time. But during that day, the Pope announced that we were going to get the first black cardinal in U.S. history, and he was in Chicago, and they moved the Sunday night game to Chicago with Kyler Murray versus the Seattle Seahawks with Russell Wilson. You had two black quarterbacks, and Cardinals were a significant underdog, and he's like, wait a minute, they're moving the Cardinals to primetime with the black QB. The Cardinals started out in Chicago. Yeah, they're in Arizona now, but they used to be the Chicago Cardinals. Two oldest teams in the NFL are the Chicago Bears and the Chicago Cardinals. But I'm not sure if it's the same person, this Wilton Daniel Gregory, but might be. It must be, right? He was the first. Hold on. That was a handful of years back now, but I remember that because like, whoa! I mean, for this news headline, they're now taking Brady. Yeah, here he is, Wilton Daniel Gregory, 76 right now, Chicago. Man, better look out at 76. I wouldn't know right now why to necessarily parallel him to JFK. I'm trying to think of JFK history, and look at what day he was appointed. April 4th, right? The anniversary of MLK's assassination. Again, MLK's assassination was a sick Jesuit ritual. Martin Luther King Jr. killed on the 95th day of the year, like Martin Luther wrote the 95 Theses. Okay, but yeah, interesting observation. Sources: there is acceptance in the White House and campaign that Biden can't stay in race. Oh, man. Hold on, is Trump taking the stage right now? How do I get this? AC/DC, come on, man. Oh, my. Look how it is. I mean, like Biden's conceding this as Trump takes the stand. I mean, just how orchestrated it all is. I mean, just how people fall for these stories. Oh my God, America, you kill me, man. You make me just, my heart's bleeding every day. Actually, we better chill out with that. They're going to take us down for the AC/DC. Now that I think about it, it's probably already... Isn't that annoying, just the way the laws... I mean, just like you have a video going that's your own content, and actually you get the AC/DC music in, and then the whole thing's monetized, and they get all the proceeds of it. People now have to watch the ads so AC/DC can get all credit for the stream. It's like, what kind of rules are these? Because 5 seconds of their song that everybody's heard of gazillion times is in my video, now the whole thing is their money? I mean, who made these rules? A million reasons we need to revolt. Whole system's bullshit. Even the YouTube is. We know the Jesuit clowns run Google. Again, you guys don't know why Google recognizes their birthday as September 27th. That's the day leaving 95 days left in the year. That's the same day the Jesuits are recognized by Roman history. Their leader right now, Sundar Pichai, 201. All right, hold on. Is Van Gogh about to talk? Wait, still no Van Gogh?
It's an honor to be here this evening. I'm the PGA head golf professional at Trump International Golf Club in Palm Beach, Florida.
All I want to say about this guy is look at the chin and the neck. I mean, when you have jelly rolls hanging out of your neck, and isn't that the thing? I mean, you turn on the radio now, and it's like one of the only artists they're playing over and over is Jelly Roll. I'm going to the grocery store. Jelly Roll's on this station. I flip to this station. More Jelly Roll. I pull into the grocery store. All I see is people in the parking lot with Jelly Rolls. I go in the grocery store. People with Jelly Rolls full of... this lady, I couldn't get this... This lady was given the longest look at the cupcakes, and her cart was already full of shit the other day. And I almost said something. I always contain myself. I let these people do what they want. It's the land of the be free to be dumb. You know, be free to be deceived. Be free to eat more cupcakes and ice creams when you surely don't need any. But I was just like, God, look at her just eyeballing the Twinkies and cupcakes and just all this shit you just don't need. How many of those do you think's gone in this guy's mouth in his lifetime? He just put up a 0. That surely wasn't the answer. I mean, isn't it embarrassing, you guys, that the country looks like this? This is a normal looking guy. He's got 3 chins and his neck has jelly rolls.
Was caddying at Trump International, and that's where I met Mr. Trump. My caddy job eventually would turn into a full-time job. One day, I was out caddying for Mr. Trump when he mentioned to me that he needed to find a teaching pro. He knew I could play, so he said, tomorrow, dress like a golf pro and come out and play golf with me. So in true Mr.
See, this is where our society has changed. If you know anything about golf, like if I showed up to a golf course in this white t-shirt and tried to play, I'd probably be kicked off the course, because usually they want you to wear a nice, collared shirt, button-up shirt. A lot of golf places have dress etiquette. Why are we so worried about the materialistic? Well, what if in golf it's like, sorry, you're a fat fuck, you're not allowed to play golf anymore. No more fat fucks on the course. Obviously, that wouldn't work because everybody'd be out of business. That's what they've turned the whole populace into. This wouldn't have been a problem decades ago, but now almost everybody's obese. Almost everybody's medicated, obese, fully fucking retarded, only believes the bullshit they see on TV. This guy's sweating bullets just from standing at the podium. And can you imagine this guy could ever play golf without a cart? There's no way this guy could walk 18 holes. He'd be crying about how bad his feet hurt.
Life, he could have played more golf, but he cares so deeply about America and our people. He just keeps working, and he does it for us. Now it's our turn to support him. So let's help him. Let's hear it. Make America great again. That's it. Thank you, President Trump, for believing in me and in our country. As much as I'll miss him in the White House.
What does it even mean to believe in America? What do we believe in? What do we believe in America? Do we choose to believe away all the things that we don't want to think about? Like how it began out of a genocide and slavery and nobody had rights except for white wealthy landowners, and how it's been at war almost every year of existence and it's killed all kinds of innocent brown people in the name of supposedly democracy when we don't have any? What democracy? The right to choose between 2 rigged candidates each year that then will do all kinds of bullshit that we have no say in? Got to pay him all kinds of taxes on everything. The American dream, you got to be asleep. The American dream to own a house. And then what? You got to pay a gazillion dollars in taxes each year to own the house? All right, where is the chump already? But yeah, this Joe Biden thing seems quite imminent. If it's tomorrow on 201, I mean, that would just be the easiest thing. We might actually wake up a few more of these people. We might make them think twice about listening to what we're saying and even taking care of themselves so they don't have a triple chin. That's really all I want over here. I might be an asshole the way I say things, but I just wish I lived in an intelligent society where people actually chose to use the brain they have. Because that's the thing, almost everyone chooses not to use it. And it gets worse and worse. Like, you listen to the young people talk now, it's like they only have 2 words. They're like, "Sup, bruh? Yo, bruh? What you doing tonight, bruh? Bruh. It's like, fuck, man. It's like they can't even talk. All they say is bruh. You talking about bruh numbers, bruh? It's a coincidence, bruh. Trump's the best, bruh. Like, oh, deep, bruh. Deep, bruh. It's all a coincidence, bruh. That's the same thing they were saying 30 years ago about everything, but now it's just got a bruh on it. Bruh. There's Donald Trump doing his jerk-off dance. He's like, that's how I jerk him off, just like that. Ski poles. So. Yeah, just to answer your question, Albert, the season is scheduled, Game 7, if it goes there for the MLB, is scheduled for November 2nd. Again, just like it was in 2016 when the Cubs beat Cleveland. Cleveland went to 2 championships that year. The Cavs won it. Cleveland lost. That was a great year for us. We had both those things right before the season began. We said LeBron will win the finals. Game 7, real King James' birthday. We said the Cubs would win the World Series, breaking the 108-year drought when there's 108 double stitches on a baseball and Major League equals 108. in Game 7, November 2nd. And in September, we saw why it was going to be over the Cleveland Indians like Charlie Sheen in Major League. Again, Major League 108, 108-year drought over, 108 double stitches. And then remember Donald Trump, Donald equals 112. And then he hired the part of the Cubs administration to be part of his cabinet. Like, oh yeah, you can run a baseball team? I bet you can run the country. Come on over here. We like winners. The young people can't tell time on analog clocks. That doesn't surprise me. Here, I want to tell you guys something though. So, again, I make fun of the way people are. Very few people are actually dumb. Most Americans are fucking retarded, but that's because they choose to be. They allow the programming to lead their brain astray, and then they don't even really try to think about anything, and they're really just going with the herd, and they all look like a pack of fucking retards, because they are, but they don't have to be. They can snap out of it. And again, life circumstances can make a huge difference on the way people mentally function. Sweet lady, my sweet lady, she came over to this country as a refugee in 2008. And her foster mom, I didn't meet Sweet Lady until 2012. So she'd been in the country for about 4 years by the time I met her. But anyhow, Sweet Lady, her foster mom thought that she was like really stupid. She thought like she was pretty dumb. She knew she was getting a girl from the third world, but she was just blown away by like simple things that Sweet Lady could not answer that she just thought were so intuitive, so obvious, so logical. And she was a little bit worried about her at first. And anyway, where I'm going with this story is her foster mom is blown away that she's become a doctor. She excelled in school and ended up dominating. And, Sweet Lady is a really impressive person. But what it shows is, like, because when they were having this conversation, they were talking about this a couple months back. And I said, well, isn't it obvious that it was just she was overwhelmed when she came here? Whole new culture, learning the language, having to take in all this stuff. It was just, that's why her foster mom was giving me examples of things that she couldn't answer back when she first moved here. And I was like, that even in a way surprised me, because really in the time I've known Sweet Lady, she's always come across as really intelligent and confident. But again, I'm just trying to make the point about, a lot of, like when Sweet Lady came here, she had all these obstacles against her because language, again, culture, just having to overcome all these little hurdles before she could start to answer the simple questions in school in advance. She had to start high school in America as an 18-year-old coming over as a refugee with a little bit of English from her own country where she lived. But I feel like that's the way the populace is too. They've had all these conditions. They've purposely been made retarded. They put shit in their mouth and don't fuel their body right because they've learned to eat like shit because it's been cultivated in them through the screen since the time they were a child watching the violent cartoons where all that's being marketed to them are sugar drinks and cookies and Twinkies and cake and ice cream and crap. And then, again, people learn up to have these addictions. And you see right now you have we ate the junk food too when we were kids, but we still played outside, so we were burning the calories. Now you just see a nation of obese children because now they live in front of the screens and eat the shit food. And again, just as this TV fast food generation gets older and older and more established, you just see how more people start to look like these slob creatures, like you see everywhere. Just fat, obese, lazy-looking, stinky. You go into Walmart, it's like impossible to not go in there and somebody doesn't shit all over the floor. You're just like, oh my God, what is wrong with society? Every time I go in here, somebody took a shit all over the floor. People can't even go to the store anymore without shitting on the floor? No, that's where we are right now, where orange overgrown Oompa Loompa is the supposed savior when he's the one that all took us to hell in 2020. But everyone's like, that's only because of the pandemic. What pandemic? The one that killed the 90-year-olds in the nursing home, the same thing every year like the flu? What pandemic? Again, no screens, no TV, no bullshit. Nobody would have known about a pandemic. You wouldn't have rushed your elderly one off to the hospital where they probably got killed with the protocols, with the ventilator and everything else that seemed to take a lot of lives. No, Donald Trump, man, he went right along with the agenda, and it was all scripted around him, too. And here he is right now, backed by the script where everything's unfolding by the numbers. Biden supporters probably are masking up. I bet you go to Seattle today, after the news, they probably all got them back on. I'm up here in Washington State, man. You go to Seattle, it's just talk about the land of the walking dead. Straight up TV watching zombies. Oh, they said to put your mask on. It's like, okay. Since when does a mask stop, microscopic bacteria that goes... And that's right. And then we created a whole new thing with the YouTube. Now germs don't exist. Germs aren't a real thing. Like, it's weird. My whole life, when people get sick around me, usually when I end up catching it too, when I got to live in the same house with them. I mean, almost every time you guys have seen me be, it's true. Every time you see me be sick in the years, I don't get sick very often, but every time I've been sick, sweet lady was sick for a while, and I'm taking care of her, and then eventually I catch it. Sometimes I'm able to avoid it if my immune system's enough in tune, but I don't know. To me, that seems like pretty obvious there's something going on with germs. That's the stuff that gets annoying. It's like, that's the shit that gets more viral. Hey, Zach, did you hear there's no such thing as germs? It's actually a conspiracy theory. It's actually made up. It's like, I'm pretty sure from life experience that they're real. I've had a lot of scenarios where it seems pretty real. I don't know why we're going to worry about this. How about talking about what I'm talking about? How these people are taking over the world by a numerical code, by a Kabbalistic code, doing the same damn thing to us every day. Just mocking our asses. Ritual sacrifice after ritual sacrifice. I don't know how people don't see it. Death of Lou Dobbs at 78 right before Trump speaks. People don't have a clue. Yeah, again, you guys too, just Elon Musk, by the numbers, saying he's going to give $45 million a month to Trump, and he's moving to Texas with all this focus on Texas and the assassination, and then this hillbilly elegy guy, his book came out on Elon Musk's 45th birthday. We'll see where this script's going, but you can see this is a cast of characters, that are going to be used to dupe everybody else into falling further into hell, no doubt about it. Yeah, I don't know why everyone's always getting caught up in obvious bullshit. There's just so much obvious bullshit in the supposed truth community. 5G is going to kill you. Germs don't exist. All of this is just nonsensical bullshit that there's no point in even being afraid of or falling for. It's like everybody was born yesterday falling for this shit. Remember, there was something about 5G in the ritual. A G looks like 6. It looked like 5, 6. With all the 56s everywhere. Remember, they were using the new 5G technology, which they explained like with cell phones. Now they can actually tell, because of the new improved technology, how many people, for example, are in a certain area. It's easier. Remember, they were giving us all the articles about Google, Apple, and Big Brother partnered up to see and kind of surveillance the populace. Are too many people gathering in certain areas? Are they violating curfew? Really tracking the exact locations where the greatest violations are happening at. Again, those are the kind of things that they said that the new 5G made capable. It's advancing the surveillance state. It's rolling out by the numbers. And then all the shills online are putting out, oh man, the 5G is about to kill us. And did you know, by the way, germs don't exist? There's no such thing as germs. I don't know, this is flying in the face of everything I've experienced in my lifetime. Again, I practically do not get sick unless somebody who I have to be around a lot is very sick and I'm around them for a significant period of time before my immune system breaks. Unless it's just the power of psychology. I'm like, oh, my loved one's suffering so much eventually. But I don't know. I'll stick with the germ thing. It seems to make some sense. Fluids and nastiness coming out of you and then being absorbed into your own body. All right, once again, we gotten too tangential, but yeah, we will leave it there. I'm sure Trump's about to speak. I'm sure I'll take some of it in and see if he drops any gems, any clues about what's next in the script. But yes, remember, tomorrow, the 201st day of the leap year. Looks like we're getting close to a climactic moment with Joe Biden. Could it be another 201 for the book that I've been writing for 4 years that I just can't finish because there's too many damn 201s to keep up with? Tell you what, for sure, I'm not tucking in the thing about Tiger Woods, but that's even another 201. Got to get Tiger in on it. 201 days from his birthday. He's a golfer like Trump. Another Jesuit puppet on the world stage. Is the bandage the mark of the beast? I don't think so. There's nothing in the Bible about it going on your ear, forehead, or hand. But again, if you missed what we showed the other day about the tribute to Van Gogh, here, I'll give it to you one more time. Again, they did the tribute to the Salvador Dali painting with the Dali taking out the ship in or the bridge in Baltimore on Nancy Pelosi's birthday. And now we got the self-portrait with bandaged ear painting by Van Gogh in tribute to Trump. And again, Van Gogh's birthday is the same day Reagan was shot. And Reagan was shot on the 128th birthday of Van Gogh. The title of that painting, Self-Portrait with Bandaged Ear, is 128. And again, that was the ritual they did. The Salvador Dali painting also equals 128, and the bridge came down at 128. And I know there's something more to this 128 number other than it just having the 11 numerology, the master number, but I did a stream on this the other day, and why it matters that Trump was shot at supposedly 115 days before his November 5th birthday, and on and on and on, and why it matters that Van Gogh died at 37 and the shooter's name is Crooks. Like the 37th president, Richard Nixon, said, "I'm not a crook." And again, Van Gogh died in July. Like this ritual comes in July, and then you think Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield, and Tyson's 58, like Trump, with the 58th election from the 58-story Trump Tower. But again, the art of war, the Jesuits, the ongoing jokes. Again, those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. Those who don't know history are also doomed, not to see it, what's being done to us. But yeah, you pay attention day after day. These people are very clever in their little rituals and spells. And again, they're telling jokes that just are going almost over everybody's heads. It's like the adults are in the room telling the jokes, and that's the Kabbalists who run this world. And everybody else is like their little dumb infant children that they purposely raised to be stupid so that they could turn them into slaves. And they just know. They know the peon masses aren't going to see it. So, is Trump speaking right now? Says he gives his first speech. Is he up there? I don't see him up there yet. Earlier, before I got it on, they made it sound like he was going to take the stage any moment. That's what they do, though, to get people to tune in and watch. They get more ratings, more ads. Lying to us all along the way. I always hate when the news is like, after this commercial break, we will be back with this story. And they know it's the one story you want, and then you go through 4 more commercial breaks before they finally get to it. It's like, what happened to after this commercial break? It's 40 minutes later. I had to watch all these more commercials, and now they're finally touching on it. And now it's underwhelming reporting that did absolutely nothing for me. It's the way the media treats these lemmings every day, but they keep coming back for more. Why are Americans so dumb? Again, purposefully, man. We've been chemically dumbed down. I mean, we got a lot of stuff in our water that European countries don't even allow. Stuff in our food that European countries don't even allow. We are chemically dumbed down. And our school years are wasted with a lot of trivial bullshit. Learning every year about Christopher Columbus discovered the land where people already lived. But just bullshit history that doesn't make any sense. I remember just being a kid, like, wait, a guy was riding through the night on a horse, screaming out the redcoats are coming, and he woke everybody up. Okay, I can just imagine that. A guy's riding in the night, torch in one hand, horse lasso in the other, screaming out the redcoats are coming. I mean, most people probably just sleep right through it. How can you wake up on the horseback with one voice? Where all these bullshit stories come from. Again, that's why you start to look at it, just like everything they fed us as kids. All these bullshit stories in school that don't make any sense. Had to tell us about the Titanic over and over, which is a big whopper of a lie. We're learning about Santa Claus. We're learning about, the stuff they teach us in religion. Only those types of... God only spoke to people thousands of years ago. Those things only happened a long, long time ago, not anymore. You have to believe. The word with lie in the middle. That's what they did. They just made us believe a whole bunch of bullshit. Everyone's just a believer. People watch my videos and they go, I don't believe it. I don't believe what he's saying about the numbers. It's like, these people are fucking retarded, man. I'm not asking to believe my work. My work's based in evidence. Like, you don't need to believe my work. It's evidence-based, you fucking retard. You believe bullshit. You believe bullshit. You don't acknowledge what I'm showing because you want to believe your bullshit, which my information is, conflicting with. People don't even know the meaning of words. Bruh. I don't believe it, bruh. What do you mean? I don't believe... No, I don't believe it, bruh. What do you mean I believe... Bruh. I can't even talk to these people. $7 p.m. my time? Well, he's a ways off then. That's 10 Eastern. Okay. Well, that's a ways off. It's exactly like Idiocracy. I've said that for years. That movie reminds me of my own existence. Like when people say that I'm arrogant, I don't feel like I'm that arrogant. I'm not that high on myself. I'm just really low on everybody else. Almost. 95% of the populace, the ones that just march along with all this shit all the time. That again are all dragging us to hell. If you've never seen Idiocracy, it's about a very normal guy who gets frozen, and then I forget how many years into the future he's unfrozen, but the world has just been so dumbed down. He's like the smartest guy there ever was when he's not even that smart. That's how I've always felt about myself. I'm like, I don't know how I see through all this obvious bullshit, but everyone else is just so fooled by it. I mean, doesn't anyone else... Who's the one that doesn't have a brain in The Wizard of Oz? Is it Scarecrow? It's like everybody else is Scarecrow. Nobody has a heart either, like Tin Man. And poor Lion, he didn't have any courage, and hardly anyone has that either. Well, I'm glad you said so, Jay. Jay said so. It must be true. All right, yeah, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you again, 13 Serpents. Seriously, 13 Serpents, I appreciate how often you're there with the big super chats. But seriously, like I've said to a lot of people who've been so generous for so long, make sure you got your rainy day fund taken care of. And by the way, Eloy Garcia, are you out there in the world? I hope you're all right, Eloy Garcia. I'm sorry. Eloy Garcia, if you are out there, get in contact with me. Keep thinking about Eloy Garcia, and I haven't heard from him in forever. But yeah, thank you again, 13 Serpents. Thank you, Albert Wesker. Thank you, Truth Does Not Exist. Thank you, Nima. Again, Nima, you got very generous many a times. Same thing to you. Thank you. And Truth Does Not Exist. I told you to stop giving me super chats. You gave me 2. Stop. You need to save your money. You need to save your money, young man. Thank you again, Barbara. Thank you again, Ava Moon. Shout out to John Mendoza. John Mendoza always keeps it to $1, $2. Very generous, but to me, that's the right amount. If you can afford $1 a day, thank you. That adds up a lot too, man. You donate $1 every day to somebody, that adds up to $365 over the year. I'm not asking anybody to donate that much. I just wish everybody donate $1 a month. There should be millions of people behind what we're trying to do. The idea of building a network, a real news network, like what we do every day, put out real information that can actually empower people to get out from under this spell, this cabal. You know, when we go places, we get people who can actually speak on the street and drop real knowledge and information and make people stop and listen like we've done all over, especially in New York City. We're killing it in New York City and LA. Team Gematria Effect News should have full-time studios in major cities. Should be funded by the people. But instead, the people are funding. Look at the cheesehead. Look, I mean, I'm a Packers fan for Donald Trump. Have you ever looked into the Jesuit sacrifice of Vince Lombardi the night before the season began at Jesuit Georgetown? These sick fucks have been sacrificing people left and right. Rigged football, rigged elections, and a whole bunch of dumbasses that need the enlightenment of the Gematria Effect News so that we can end this shit. How many lemmings sent in tons of money to people like Donald Trump and would never, ever think about, supporting something like this, which is actually truly patriotic, real American values, somebody who actually cares about the country, somebody who is actually a common person who actually did something noteworthy, like figured out the way the cabal operated and proved it in spades and called the future 1,000 times before it happened. Could have saved a whole lot more people in the pandemic or the scandemic had they listened to what we were doing. Again, we were the first people in the world, and that's not a fake statement. We were the first group of people in the world on the streets of America, days after their COVID bullshit, laying out exactly what was coming March 13th, 2020, in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, warning people about exactly what Gates said a decade earlier, warning people about what was to come, all of it. We were all over the lockdowns that were coming. We called it all out, dead on, and including the year. But at that same time, we'd already figured out that their bullshit was going to end as soon as the year of the tiger came around. We were calling it all out from day one. Imagine if the whole world was on the level we were on. We would have defeated the cabal. Their game wouldn't have worked. You know? People would have been able to go on with their lives and not live in fear and not wear a slave muzzle and become guinea pigs for the most sued companies in the history of the world for wrongful death and injury. I'm talking about Pfizer and GlaxoSmithKline, who merged by the Art of War code, perfectly synced with when the thing went live on the streets. Again, we can prove all day who's doing this. Most people, all they can say is they and don't have any proof of anything. We can explain to you why Pfizer and GlaxoSmithKline merged exactly 102 weeks before their jab went live, and why Russia-Ukraine broke out into total bullshit ritual exactly 102 weeks after COVID, right after the Super Bowl that concluded the 102nd NFL season, where the winner wore the same colors as Ukraine, and the coach, his fiance was from Ukraine, and it was all so fucking obvious, and we all know what Art of War 102 is, and how it all goes back to the Jesuits, and how they started the American Civil War on the 102nd day of the year, and how they simulated 9/11 102 days before the Al-Qaeda attack with Operation Amalgam Virgo with Osama bin Laden's face on the cover, when Al-Qaeda equals 102 like Art of War, like World War, like how the same shit's going on right now with Russia, Ukraine, and Israel. Again, these are the things people need to know about, because then you can stop the calamities that are sure to come in time if the lemmings just keep marching forward to the tune of the puppets, you know? Yeah, and again, your comment about Aldous Huxley, again, just how they've even synced up this Trump scare on Harrison Ford's birthday, who has the new movie coming out, Brave New World, Captain America, on 2/14, when JFK was killed in the 214 area code on the same day that Aldous Huxley died. I mean, it's just... I still remember being in high school. I didn't like Brave New World. I didn't like Lord of the Rings. 1984 I did like, but they made us read all these books, and they were all about like similar types of things. These societies ruled over in similar but different types of ways: tyranny, propaganda, fear, making the populace be medicated. It drives me nuts to see how we were being mocked, and they were having us read those books when we were in school, because that's the world that we were going to be introduced into, and not that long down the road. You know, I'm class of 2001, high school. Things really got popping just months later with 9/11. But now by the time I'm, the next half of my life, I'm 40 years old, and now it's like, Jesus, this is the Brave New World. This is the 1984. And then how they just tease us and bait us with these years over and over, too. You remember they tell us that Joe and Kamala were the first presidential ticket without an Ivy Leaguer since 84, and then just on and on and on. Ronald Reagan parallels right now with Trump, and J.D. Vance being born in 84, and anyway. Did I say Lord of the Rings? I meant to say Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Rings is the book series from after World War II. And remember, the one called The Two Towers came out on 11/11, like all the 11s on 9/11. But that Lord of the Rings movie series got real popular right when 9/11 happened. Here, you know what? This is why I like Young Jay. Yeah, absolutely. The Mark Twain code, it's easier to fool somebody than convince them they've been fooled. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the whole problem we have, because everyone's been fooled, and then they don't like that we come around who aren't fooled and show them how they've been fooled, and they can't admit it because of their ego. Here, Here's the only other quote that might be even better and more true than that, and it comes from Richard Nixon. Richard Nixon, how's it exactly? American people only believe what they see on TV. It's something like that. Let me see what the exact phrasing is. Oh, that's how it is. The American people don't believe anything until they see it on television. You know. Somehow that only got 6 retweets and 21 likes. Here, let me give you one. I'll retweet it right now. What do you mean Trump didn't almost get assassinated? Didn't you see TV? Like, good God, man. I'll tell you who needs to get assassinated right now. Person talking this bullshit into my ear. You know, I'm sure there's all kinds of super important symbolism in the Lord of the Rings movies in light of the time that came out, but I'm pretty sure I haven't even seen all of them, and I know I haven't even seen even one of them all the way through, because 3-hour movies, man, it's just, I don't know. I can grind all day on work, but to ask me to sit down and watch something for 3 straight hours. I guess I end up doing it sometimes with Sweet Lady when she has the day off, because if she finds a show she likes, man, just like a lot of people this day and age, she wants to watch episode after episode, but I'm always trying to get her to take some breaks. I hate watching something for just 3 straight hours. When I was younger, I didn't like to watch. Again, I did not like the TV when I was a kid, because it was the thing that was always breaking up the game outside. Somebody had to go in and ruin our game to watch some bullshit TV show. It used to drive me nuts. I liked video games when I was a kid, but I never liked playing video games more than I liked playing outside with my friends. And that was another thing. People started to want to play the video game more than play outside. And it's like, let's wait till it's rainy out. It's raining, which does actually happen out here a lot in Washington State when you're growing up, west side of the state. But yeah, it's just the screens, man. The screens have been the detriment of humanity. So we'd all be a lot better. Again, just like how the Nazis gave everybody radios to spread their propaganda, just think about it at this day and age with everyone having screens everywhere. From all over, like the walls everywhere you go, screens are everywhere in your house, businesses. But then you got these screens right here too, everywhere. Again, constantly, just instantaneously, we're all getting the updates and the bullshit and the propaganda just buzzing right in our pockets. It's like they got us so plugged into their matrix of lies and deception. Vatican Assassins by Eric John Phelps. I don't think I have read that. I don't think I have. Riding big wheels. Oh, man. When I was a kid, I used the big wheel to step up and put my hands on the red hot glowing burner. I was like 3 or 4 years old. That was, I always think of that. I used the big wheel to get up higher. And too bad I did. Woo. Lesson, but sometimes you gotta do that as a kid to learn your lesson, man. You'll learn. Curiosity killed the cat. Now you're in the doctor's office with burnt palms because you just couldn't resist the red glow of the stove. Anyway, we'll leave it there, you guys. Thanks again to everyone who's liking the share, and we'll see what's to come. You know, if Joe Biden does anything early tonight, I'll come on and cover it. But I really am. I'm wondering tomorrow, the 201st day of the year. Yes, I'm aware of that book by him. I've definitely heard of it, but I don't think I've read it yet. I might have read some excerpts from it, but yeah, definitely on the list of things to do. So, all right, you guys. Until next time, Truth Seeker.